Okay, pierwsze podstawowe pytanie, czy mnie słychać? Jakbyście mogli dać znać, czy wszystko jest ok. Tak jak słychać, nie słychać? Ok, słychać, super. To może zacznę od tego, że chciałabym powitać wszystkich bardzo serdecznie w kolejnym odcinku 5 pytań na żywo. Dzisiaj będzie to odcinek po angielsku, ponieważ nasz gość jest anglojęzyczny. Oczywiście odcinek pojawi się też na YouTubie i jak tylko starczy mi czasu, to go przetłumaczę, będą polskie napisy, ale to może trochę potrwać, także najpierw się pewnie pojawi bez napisów, tak jak to zwykle bywa. Coś mi tu skrzypi. Okej, może przestanie zaraz. Chciałabym też powiedzieć, że bardzo mi miło, że w ostatnim czasie tyle nowych osób do nas dołączyło, także witajcie. Jeżeli się zastanawiacie, czym jest 5 pytań to jest taka seria, którą stworzyliśmy 6 lat temu mniej więcej i pierwotnie była to tylko wersja pisana na stronie rcnennox.com. Natomiast po 4-letniej przerwie wróciliśmy do tematu, zastanawialiśmy się nad formatem przez jakiś czas i stanęło na tym, że będzie to opcja live. Chyba że nasz gość nie chce odpowiadać, to wtedy możemy też opublikować w wersji pisanej jego odpowiedzi. I to chyba tyle. Także myślę, że możemy powoli zaczynać, bo jest was już 9 osób, także spróbuję się połączyć z Chrisem. Na próbnym live'ie nam się to udało, także trzymajcie kciuki. Hi!
Hi, Sandra. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you.
Okay. Now, and I can see you and hear you
Okay,
very
good.
well. So
Good. I can see you and hear you great.
okay. So I'm trying to look into the camera.
Okay.
So okay. So first of all, we are gonna talk about the main reason why we are here. I will ask you the questions, and then I would love to know everything about the Beat the Creek that took place last weekend. Okay?
Yeah, sounds great. Thank you.
Okay. So first question is, how has your RC adventure started, and what was your first RC?
All right. My RC adventure started about 6 years ago, and actually I was working away from home, about 8 hours drive from Kentucky where I live. So I was alone a lot. So I started hiking, and I saw these guys out on the trail with their scale trucks. And I thought that was cool. I said, I want to do that for sure. So I started looking into it and into hobby grades, but I wanted something too that was fast. So I actually bought a Traxxas Summit, was my first RC. So I could run on trails and also go do some bash type of activity. So Traxxas Summit was the first.
Oh, can you wait just a second because I have a. Okay, now I'm fine. Okay. So how did you like the summit? Did you think that it was a good idea, or did you regret?
Oh no, I loved it. I learned a lot from it because it was very complicated compared to like one of the crawlers or something. You know, having lockable diffs and 2-speed. So I learned quickly how to work on these things, and I kind of picked something that was pretty complicated. So at first I was disappointed that things broke, but then I learned, well, that's part of the hobby. So.
Okay. So which RC that you own or owned is your favorite? Is it the Summit or something else?
No, since then I have about 7 or 8 crawlers now. And really my favorite right now that I've put the most time in, as you know, and people know, I spend a lot of time out on the trails and do a lot of miles training for races, endurance races, things like that. So right now I have a 1.9 Wraith with a castle system in it, running yeah, castle system with brass links. And that's my favorite rig out on the trail because it can really go anywhere and do a lot compared to some of my others. So.
Is it, do you prefer driving slowly and on the rocks, for example, and look how all the suspension works, or do you like a little bit of speed?
Yeah, I like to keep moving. You know, if I come along a spot that I haven't been before, I might spend 5 minutes crawling around some new rocks, but I like to make it activity where I put in the miles, get good exercise, and then also run my RCs. That's what gives me the most happiness to get out there.
Okay, I understand. So what is your dream RC then?
Well, that's a good question. It's kind of interesting. Since I got in the hobby about a year after, I bought my first crawler, and always had an idea or dream. I like the Dakar Rally, and I love the Dakar trucks in the Dakar Rally. So I always wanted to have or build something like that. And actually, over the weekend at Beat the Creek, my friend and co-host Joe Halke and family gave me a RC four-wheel drive, one of their 1/14 overland rigs, which I have right here.
Yeah, prepared. Okay.
So we're gonna convert this into like a Dakar truck. My buddies and I, in the Kentucky Trail Stompers group, they're gonna paint it for me. They're gonna build me like the rear box that Dakar trucks have. So this has kind of been really the dream I've had for 5 years. And I think with help of my friends and some work on my own, I think that dream's going to become true. So that's my dream RC, really.
So you're living the dream right now.
It'll take some time. The rig the rig doesn't come with any electronics or anything, so I have to decide what system. It doesn't come with shocks, so my buddy Joe and I were talking about, you know, fitting shocks on this thing because it's a little loosey. But yeah, I think that's going to be cool, you know.
Yeah, it sounds cool.
I know you guys.
So
I know you guys do some rally also in Poland, so I know it's big in Europe. So hopefully, maybe we could start something, at least here on the East Coast, that people get into the rally trucks or even the rally cars and do some RC rallies like at Beat the Creek. We'll see what happens in the future.
Yeah, it's a great idea. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, thank you.
So next question. What do you like the most about this hobby?
Oh, well, the most joy that brings me is seeing, putting on the event, Beat the Creek, seeing people have fun, and all the people that I've come in contact with over the years in the crawling hobby. They're some of the best people I've met, actually. I've done a lot of different things, a lot of different hobbies, and I think the crawler people are really some of the nicest people I've ever met. You know, from it doesn't matter where you're from, what you do, they're just good people in general. And also,
maybe
go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
One last, just like I said, seeing the smiles on people's faces when they come to Beat the Creek or whenever I help with an event, it just brings me a lot of joy, and that's my number one favorite part of the hobby.
Okay, so I think this is the great opportunity to say how we met.
Okay, yeah. What year was that? 2017 when you did?
Yes, it was.
2017. Yeah, you had your big first event in Poland, and I actually had a conference to go to for work in Berlin. So it just happened to be that event was that weekend after my conference in Berlin. So I had made the decision, found out about it. I said, I'm gonna make the drive into Poland. Little did I know at the time it was 8-9 hour drive, but I kind of figured that out like the week or two before when I had to rent the car and got all that straight. But you helped me so much with talking about it. I know we talked 5-6 months ahead of time, told me what, you know, about some of the driving and some of the language and things like that. You helped me so much. I was very indebted and always will support you in your big event, the Off Mania, that you have in the fall until the end, for sure. You've been a big help.
Thank you. I really hope that you'll be able to come.
Yep, I want to come again.
Maybe next year.
It's been a few years. I always say, well, that I hope to get there. And of course, what's happened the past few years, nobody's been able to travel. So hopefully in the next year or two. And I'd love to come over. Poland was a beautiful country. The people I met are so friendly, down to earth. And again, thank you for your help again, that 4 years ago.
Yeah, thank you for coming. It was a funny thing from my perspective, because one day I got the message from a guy from Kentucky, USA that I never heard about before, and he said, hey, I'm going to Germany and I want to go to Poland to your event. It was just insane. And it was so cool, really.
Yeah.
So I really hope that.
So I'm still looking at that trophy you gave me up here. It's up on our refrigerator for being the person that came the longest distance. So I still have that.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, thank you. I met so many great friends too. I still chat with you and Rafael, and so there's been some good friends that I've made. I just wish I could see all you more.
Yeah, I hope it will happen soon, and maybe you can come next year for the 5th edition, because we will do a little anniversary because it's the 5th of Mania. So
yeah, I'm so glad it's worked out for you, and it's been a great event, definitely.
Thank you. So next question. What are 4 things that you always take on your RC adventures? Okay,
yep, I thought about this one too. Since like I said, I go out there for a lot of miles, so I could be out there for 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe 10 hours. So I always take water, number 1, folks. Water, some energy gels, because I don't really bring food, but I bring some energy gels. Definitely, I have broke the truck a lot. So I bring parts and tools. So those are the 4 main things: water,
so
energy gels, parts, and tools. That keeps me going on the trails.
Yeah, so we are always prepared for.
That's right. Be prepared
for a long run. Okay, so we did the basic stuff, and now I want you to tell us, everyone here, about the event that you're part of.
Well,
I want to know everything.
Right, I know.
From the beginning. Who does it, and how it happened that you're part of it, and how it looks like.
Well, again, it's all started back. Joe Halke started Beat the Creek. It's his farm. Him and his family own an 84-acre farm here in Kentucky. When I owned my Summit, I started seeing that people have events with these trucks. So I said, that's pretty neat. So I only had the Summit. I didn't really understand that there were scale trucks in any classes or anything like that. I just wanted to come and run the trails. So I messaged a couple people putting on the events, and nobody says, oh no, we can't have Summits. They're too big and they don't go through the gates. I'm like, gates? What are gates? But I didn't really understand. But I messaged Joe when I saw he was going to have his first Beat the Creek. And he actually said, yeah, bring him on. He told me about how the gates worked and was very helpful. And he let us come. So a group of us, with 15 of us that own Summits, came to the first Beat the Creek. And I think he had about 70 people. And I was so happy he did that. It really touched my heart that all these other events said, no, can't have you for this reason or whatever. Understandably, but he said, yeah, bring him on. And I've been friends with him ever since. And slowly, as time go on, I started helping him with Beat the Creek the second year, more involved with getting sponsors and then helping him with the trails. And it's just evolved from that we became very good friends. And we help, you know, I started helping them more and more where, you know, where we became co-hosts together. So that's how
Okay,
that began.
so how many years?
This past weekend was the 6th annual.
Oh, that's
Yep.
so
So
cool. And tell me,
2016 was his first Beat the Creek. And this past one was 6 years now. It's the sixth annual.
and how did the event change from the first one that you went to?
At first, yeah, I think at first he had basically a couple trails, and I think it was a 1-day event, maybe 2. It's hard to remember. But now, you know, we've added with him and me, and him pushing me, and I'm pushing him. We have 5 trails now, and it's a 2-day event. We have people camp on site. We had probably over 200 people camp this past weekend. And we have 5 trails that people can run over 2 days. It's not a comp, you know, it's not a competition. It's basically a G6. The goal is to finish, you know, get through all the trails, enjoy yourself, have fun, bring your family, and just meet up new friends, hang out with current friends. So it went from 70 people up to 150 to 300 people, then 400. And we predicted this year, probably at first, about a month ago, I thought we would get 400, about the same as last year. And I was good with that. But then something started changing. You know, I keep up to date on social media, and especially RC and all the other events that are going on. I pay attention to what they're doing, and just there was a lot of buzz happening about Beat the Creek. So the week of, I go up there early, and Joe and I work all week on the trails and the property, getting everything ready. I said, well, I think we might have 500, you know, so we kind of kept it at that. Well, Friday night when they started coming in, people coming into camp and set up vendors, they just kept on coming. So it turned out we ended up with 750 drivers for the weekend.
Whoa, that's so cool.
And it was pretty much the limit of the property. Luckily, we had a few issues, but nothing major. There's things we learned because of that many people came. It took about 45 minutes, some people 45 minutes, an hour to get up the driveway. So there's things that we can do, but we were very surprised and very happy and very grateful for everybody that came, because really you can't have an event unless the people come. You know that as well as I do, you know.
Yeah. But do you have a registration, or can people come at the spot?
Basically just people come and pay at the gate. So that was part of the it's slow down, and we never had any issue before. You know, we talked about doing pre-registration. So that's something Joe and I are talking about now. Joe and his wife, Sue, we're talking about that might be needed to be happen now to allow people to buy tickets, come in faster, show the ticket that they bought one for camping and for the event, and park them appropriately. So.
Okay. But is it like everyone that come just go and drive wherever, whenever, what time they want, or do they have some kind of driver's card, or how does it work? Is it just pure fun? Or?
Yeah, we kind of do what we give out driver's cards. They can still keep track of their gates hit and things like that, winches, but it's all for fun on that regard. We don't give out any class awards anywhere. But really, the goal is we want them to go out and do all the trails over those 2 days. And then, but also, and we do have a driver's meeting Saturday morning, explain everything to everybody, and then allow everybody to hit the trails. You know, there's a few trails, the famous Creek Trail, and we have a barn that Joe has a barn on his property that we call the RC Fun Barn, basically. And we built all these basically contraptions in the barn, on the barn, above in the rafters of the barn where you drive your truck. You've probably seen videos. A lot of people have probably seen videos. And so trails 1 and 4 are the creek and the barn. So those are the ones we tell people to go hit. You know, if you're only there for one day, go do those trails. So then we do side events also. This last couple years, we've done the BTC shootout. We have like a rock garden that's like 100-foot long, and I set up a course in there, and we do a timed run through that course. And I do a couple things, unique things that they have to do. So it's not a straight run. They might have to do a 360 on this side of this piece of concrete, go through these tunnels. We've had a couple big tunnels built into this dirt mound, and then have them finish on top of this other dirt mound. So we try to make it fun, and it goes fast. We don't, couple hours and we're done with that little comp, and the people can go enjoy the vendors. We had almost 17, 18 vendors there this year, in all kinds of product. I know a few of our vendors, RC Addict, Canyons RC, they brought a lot of product, and people bought a lot of good RC stuff this weekend. I know that.
That's cool. So I have one more question about the tracks. Do you have gates?
Yes.
Right? They are numbered?
No,
how many?
We don't have the number of gates. What we've ended up doing, we used to put out flags, the small metal flags that people use. But since we have a lot of trails there, and they get overgrown, so sometimes when we go to clean up the trails and weed eat the trails, sometimes we never see those flags. So we've actually gone to 4-foot poles that we paint the color on top of the poles. If you're familiar with driveway poles, they're on people's driveways, and they're reflective also. So we've taken poles, colorized the tops of them, and have those as gates and trail markers all on every course. So,
oh, that's interesting idea. So how many is on one course?
Oh, wow. We probably have 200, 250 on one course. Not all gates. Some of them are trail markers just to the right of you. So we probably have at least 50 gates on each course that I put out there. And we change them too from each event. Like this year, I walked all the trails, moved the trail markers. We try to change every trail every year. And also so I try to move those poles and make different gates every year. So. Okay.
So when you put the course on, do you drive it first to check how?
Yeah, definitely. Especially the creek, because the creek, you actually drive up the creek on next to Joe's driveway. So it's about maybe a quarter of a mile. I know about a quarter of a mile up this creek. And sometimes with a lot of the rain and things, a lot of rocks get moved. So we have to drive that creek every year, every event, and move rocks around so people can, and try to have at least 2 or 3 lines up through many of the sections. So all types of rigs, class 1, small tire, all the way up to the big tire can get through the creek with minimal, well, I shouldn't say minimal effort, because it's always pretty hard. But at least that they can, there's nowhere where they can't make it through.
Okay, give me a second, because I think that something happened and the light stopped working.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know why. Okay, I think it's back on.
Okay, good.
Yeah, okay. Sorry. So what's the terrain there? Is it more forest, mud and stuff like that, or is there some rocks?
Well, we got some rocks, a lot of forest, a lot of tree roots. The creek is all rocks. Yeah, of course, rocks and water, and depends how much water, depends how much it's going to rain. And in Kentucky, the mud depends also on how much it rains. This year, we were very lucky in that, and it was basically why we had so many people. It was kind of a perfect storm. We had rain Wednesday, Thursday. It cleared up. We had no rain Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And so so there was really no mud, not a lot of water in the creeks, just enough. So it worked out. 2 years ago, it rained all day Saturday, most of Sunday. It was so muddy. It was it was so muddy in the field too, where people camped, that we had to tow people out of the field. So, and also all the trails, people loved it still. And you know, I still get, I wish there was mud again like it was in 2019. But some people, you know, would rather not be slipping and sliding and falling down, you know, have a chance to fall down. So it just depends on how much rain we've had.
Okay, what do you prefer, the muddy terrain or when it's more rocky?
I like a kind of a both, you know. Living here, like I said, in Kentucky, you have to always tell people, you better like the rain or the water and the mud, or you're not going to be out running your RCs, you know, especially on the trails. Yeah, we have rocky areas you can just crawl rocks and things like that, especially man-made rock areas. But to do trailing or being out on the trails, you have to better have your rig waterproof and like to get muddy a little bit.
Okay, I see. So is the next year edition already planned? Do you have a date? Or
no, we don't have a date.
Is it going to happen?
Just came up this morning. We were talking. So no date yet. We can't divulge any information. It's still being talked about. So.
Okay. So people can drive a whole weekend on the tracks. Yes. They have additional tasks, as you mentioned. Yes. What else can you tell me about it? Is there some kind of, I don't know, campfire, or are there prizes for anything?
Oh yes, we have. Let me talk about some other side events. Joe likes the semi trucks, and we did a 1/24th scale comp and course this year. A good friend of ours, Derek Randolph, him and his wife made some obstacles for the 1/24 scale trucks, and we added some dirt mounds in there, and he put rocks in it and made a really cool course. And always looked over there when I was driving around in golf cart and saw people playing on that all the time. So I think it was definitely a big hit, and he even had a competition also, and that worked out well. Then Joe also did a semi-truck event. You know, the big rigs like we have in the United States, they run on, run on the interstates and move stuff around the country. So they did a semi-truck demo and competition too, to driving the semi-trucks with a trailer around the course and backing up and parking. And that's always been a good success too.
That's awesome. So what drivers can bring home from the event other than great memories and stuff that they buy at the event? What's there? Are they looking for something on the tracks maybe?
Oh yeah, maybe like Ric Flair.
Yeah,
we had a little thing this year. It was Year of the Flair. We hid Ric Flair here. If anybody's familiar with this wrestler, Ric Flair, I bought him, or a friend of mine gave him to me last year at Beat the Creek. This year we used him and hid him out on the trails on Saturday, Sunday. And if people found him out on the trails, we gave them $100. So,
nice.
So as a bounty, we also hid another figure. People might be familiar with The Walking Dead, I think's the name of it. And we hid this other character, the Daryl figure, out there too, and gave out a bounty for him. So we do things like that to keep people having fun on the trails. And we also, on the trails, we have different drivers challenges. People may have to drive their rig backwards for a certain section, or drive opposite hand, turn, if they're used to turning with their right, you have to turn with your left. And so we do things like that. And then, then another section, you have people drive on the other side of a creek, a little creek we have on one trail. The truck has to stay on one side. They stay on this side of the trail, and it's probably a good 500 feet. They have to drive their rig across on the other side until they get to this covered bridge that we have. So we try to challenge people, so they, maybe can learn a little bit more and to help them with their skills.
Okay, so it sounds like really great fun. Is it an event for families? Who comes to the Beat the Creek?
We all family fun all around. We wouldn't have it any other way. I think we had 120 kids this year, like 12 and under. That's been the most we've ever had. More families are coming, we've noticed, with their wives, or husbands with their wives, their kids. So we had, like, family or spectators, we had over 120 or about 120 spectators also. Family that just stayed there or walked around with their husbands or wives on the trail. We even had like mother, daughter, son, and they did all the trails together, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, that sounds really great. So it's a family event, for sure. Right?
Family friendly.
Okay. So how does it look in the evening? Because you start on Saturday, right? It's Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah.
So when everyone gets back from the tracks, do you do something in the evenings or just have fun together?
We have a food vendor, so people can eat, and our food vendor also serves dinner, so they can purchase food all the way up until then. But on Friday night, for the people who camped, I do a night run right when it gets dark. So anybody that has been already got set up and everything, we can go out. I do parts of trails, like go backwards on some of the part of the trails or do something completely different. So they're not actually running one of the trails, they'll run Saturday or Sunday, but they get a taste of it. I do like an hour night run, and then we do another night run on Saturday night also.
Oh, that's cool. Do people prepare the rigs so they are like Christmas trees or something?
Yeah, like there's some on Friday night was, I think, a record, at least for Friday. We had like 120 people do the night run on Friday, or about 100. And all their rigs were lit up, they were ready. Same with Saturday night.
That's awesome. So tell me where someone that would like to come can find all the information.
Okay, I started a group on Facebook the other day. Of course, we have our event page, Beat the Creek 2021. But then I said, well, I'm going to start a group this year so people looking for information or pictures from past events and a current event could go and post all that, and we can put information on there as time goes on. But it's Beat the Creek group page is the name of it right now. Beat the Creek group page.
Okay, I will put the link down below after the live so everyone can check it out.
But also talking about prizes, we have many sponsors. I try to get as many sponsors as I can, up to a limit. We have different levels now. Prime sponsors, they have to donate a certain amount. We have a limit for those. But then I also want to have RC companies, small and big. So we allow a lot of smaller RC companies, guys that are just getting started. They can be sponsors. All that, they can donate something, whatever they can donate. That's the way it started. Beat the Creek. We didn't want to deny anybody any to be able to be a sponsor or a vendor. So we welcome everybody, every company, big and small.
Okay, so how do you think that doing this different levels of sponsorship, is it easier to manage, or does it work for you? Do you think it's the right way to do it?
Yeah, I think so. This is our second year. We started last year with the prime level sponsor, and it's worked out fine. Yeah, it's worked well. Mm-hmm. So in a lot of people have stepped up, and I was very surprised. People really loved the event. And some of the sponsors didn't think, hey, wanted to be prime, but they stepped up and said, yeah, we sure will. So it's nice to see that, and
it's nice to be appreciated, right?
And we try to give away everybody. We have door prizes too. So we try to give away a prize to every driver that comes. This year, I think we gave away most every driver a prize that wanted one. If they turned in their scorecard, they got a door prize. If they left and didn't turn it in, and like we said, then okay, they didn't get it. But we try to give a door prize to every driver. Then we have a drawing on Sunday in the afternoon to give away the trucks or the big items that were donated, like RTR rig, kits, tires, motors, complete systems, things like that. So we give away, do a drawing on Sunday, and Joe's wife, Sue Halke, handles all that, and their daughter, Emily, and she does such a great job. I get the sponsors, they send the items in, but Joe's wife, Sue, organizes all those prizes, gets them ready for everybody, and does such a great job. Something I couldn't do, because it takes the special person. It would drive me crazy, but she does a great job and has done that since year one and does a real good job. So
awesome.
I think this year we estimated with the drawing door prizes, we gave away and the prizes donated about $15,000 of prizes were given away this past weekend.
That's amazing.
About 600 drivers or so out of the 750.
Nice. And it's a great way to support the community, right? Because not everyone can afford buying new stuff for the rigs. So it's a great opportunity.
In fact, we also give away rigs to families. One of our sponsors, Carl Klein of Canyons RC, requested an RTR truck he gave away go to a family or to a kid that doesn't have their own. And it just so happens there was a family there that were a family of 4 sharing one truck for the weekend. Mm-hmm. And then we learned later on, it was another family beside them. They were all sharing the one truck. So like 7 of them, 4 kids, they were sharing one truck for the weekend. So that worked out perfect with Carl and his gift. Mm-hmm. We were able to give that to that family. And I also gave a SCX 24, ones that we used for the demo on the demo course for the 124 scale. I gave that away to them also. So
yeah, that's really great. So they are coming next year.
I hope so. Right? I hope so. Hope we didn't scare them away. No, I doubt it. But everybody had a great time. We're very thankful, as I said before, at the drivers' meeting and the raffle. There could never be a Beat the Creek without everybody that has come the past years and this past weekend, and have a good time. There's really never any issues with anybody, even with 800 people plus on the property this weekend. We had 0 issues, nobody causing trouble. It was perfect. It was really perfect.
Yeah, that's great. And tell me how if someone wants to support the event, how can they do this? Do you sell, I don't know, T-shirts or do you have a
No.
Patreon or something?
No, we don't have Patreon or anything. We sell T-shirts and stuff at the event, but we never sold anything outside, online, or anything outside the event. So that's something Joe and I might talk about if people are interested. But if any new sponsors, like this year was the first time I probably received 10 from 10 different companies interest in, hey, we want to be a sponsor. And that was the first time. Usually it's me sending the emails out to our past sponsors and some new sponsor or new companies I've noticed. And but this year I had them coming to me and expressed an interest. So if you have a company, we even had 4 or 5 of our sponsors from Europe this year. Crazy Crawler, thank you, Michael. You know him. We had Pro Crawler, Flat Gecko. I don't know if you're familiar with Flat Gecko. He's out of Hungary, I think. Pierre Silva. He was a prime sponsor. Sent 2 kits to build rails and links and everything to build 2 Flat Gecko chassis rigs. There was a number of them. You know, I can't go through them all. We had about 18 prime sponsors and 28 general sponsors. So if any company is interested, they can message me on Facebook anytime, and I'll be happy to chat with them about it.
That's awesome. So fingers crossed there's gonna be way more next year, and the event's gonna grow.
Yeah, we're discussing different things. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I don't know what to expect. Of course, you know, the weather plays a big deal. You know, when people started seeing the weather going to be clear, and now also there hasn't been a lot of events. A lot have been canceled or postponed, and so people were ready to get out. You know, people were just. I kept hearing that all weekend. We're so happy to be out and be back with our RC friends and crawling friends. And this is so great. There was just smiles. As I say, there was a lot of smiles per mile at the event, for sure.
That's great. So I believe we know everything we need to know about the Beat the Creek. So now tell me, what's your plans? What's your RC plans for the next months or a year?
That's a good. Well, one thing is get this truck built. That's going to be number one, I think. But also, I haven't had my RC out on the trails a lot. I think I chatted with you a little bit a few weeks ago. I did that trail running race, a 50K race a couple weeks ago. So I put my RCs away for a few months and trained for that, 3 months actually. So I only have maybe 10 miles out on the trails this year. So I'm gonna get back out on the trails with my rigs and start enjoying them again. That's always my favorite. If I try to get out at least once or twice a week, 3 or 4 hours each time, and enjoy the hobby. Get out there with the truck, your radio, some batteries, and have fun.
Do you like driving alone, or are you more interested in driving with a group?
Well, a lot of there's nobody real. A lot of my friends not in my town, so we don't get together very often. So 95% of the time I'm out by myself. So it's not that I prefer it that way, but I wake up one morning and say, okay, I don't have anything to do here. I can go out for some time. So I kind of do it on spur of the moment. And then I go up and go ahead. Then I go up to Beat the Creek or Joe's trails and run the trails. Which, like we're going to try to get together this weekend, him and I, my wife, his wife, and Sue and Emily and Teresa, my wife, and go up there and run them. Of course, Joe didn't get to run any trails. I ran one Sunday night after everybody had left. We had one of our sponsors still there. So I did go out and do one of the trails. That was fun.
Okay. Do you have any plans for a trip to other events or something like that?
Yeah, I planned this. The plan is right now to go to the Fix endurance race in July. I've done that for the last 4 years, and I don't want to miss that. It's a 12-hour endurance race, and so I like to do, and we, and it's hard, but you can. A lot of people, I always tell them, do what you can. There's a 3 and 6 hour endurance race that is held too at the same time. So, yep. So I'm going to be probably going to that. And then we have our own event at the Rocktober, we call it. It's going to be probably October 9th or 10th. So we change up the trails a bit, and we don't have sponsors or anything, but it's mainly a fun run. People come out, they could still camp. And run the trails. We do some backwards. We add some. We combine some, and so and it's a one-day event. So we try to limit it so they can get through the 2 or 3 trails in one day.
Okay.
I'll be in
So
October.
I must say. Okay. So I must say that I probably will never take part in the Fix, but the fact that you do it each year, it's insane but great in a great way. So
you can do the 3 hour. There's a 3 hour and 6 hour event too.
Yeah, well, maybe not. It's not for me, but I admire you for doing that. So.
Yeah, thank you.
So is there any event that you would like to go to, but you don't know if you're going to be able? I'm not going to say it's of Mania because it's clearly.
I won't be able to make. I wanted to go to Axial Fest here, and there's 2 of them this year. One in Indiana, which is Axial Fest Badlands. That's like just a 5-hour drive. But we have vacation scheduled that week. My wife and I down in North Carolina, so I won't be able to go to that. Still maybe go to Axial Fest out west in California. That's a possibility. Also, Proline by the Fire is one event I want to go to in California. Talking to Paul Wilhite, he always trying to get me to go. My friend Joe says, let's go. We're going to go this year. So it's 2 weeks, I think, after, maybe in October. I forget when they changed it to. But there's a possibility I want to go. But that's one event I've wanted to go to, Proline by the Fire, for a while now.
I don't know if the date changed, but one of the dates was the same weekend as of Mania, as my event. Yeah.
That's right.
So.
Yeah, I think so. Right. And we did Beat the Creek last year, the same weekend you did Off Mania. So I was always posting at some two great events on both continents, Europe and the US, are happening this weekend. So people from Europe, the USA, have good choices to make. Yeah.
Yes.
Because of course we're not hurting each other attendance, because people weren't traveling.
Of course not.
Nobody was traveling across the country or across the water any, but.
No, yeah, but it's actually fun that something is happening at the same time. So I have no problem with that. So come on,
yeah, I know. I'm
not
kidding.
Thing, of course.
Yeah, we hope you and Blase can get over someday. Come to Beat the Creek.
I hope so.
Yep.
I would love to go to the US and meet all the people that I only have a chance to talk.
You haven't been to the US, right? No,
nope.
I didn't think. Yeah, so you have to get over. You have a passport, right?
Oh, I think that it's very old, and I have to make a new one.
Yeah, I know.
But it's
maybe someday.
But it's easier.
Someday we'd love to have you guys over for sure.
I'd love to come. Thank you for the invite.
Yep.
So, Chris, thank you so much for answering to the 5 questions too, and telling us everything about Beat the Creek. Okay. It was a pleasure to talk to you as always.
Good to talk to you, Sandra. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and hope to see you soon in person, live.
Yeah, I know. It's been too long. It's been too long. I really, those 3 days still even though it was only 3 nights over there in Poland, I still think about it a lot and remember some of the things pop into my mind. Sometimes I look at the pictures I have on Facebook in the album, and still so many great memories from that weekend.
Yeah, it was an amazing weekend with great people from many places. So it was like a family event, really, to see all of you.
We always say for Beat the Creek, everybody that comes, vendors, anybody that attends, we're all family. We're all family, and it's like a big family reunion when we get together.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so thank you again, Chris, for finding time to talk to me.
Oh yeah, no problem. Anytime.
And I hope to talk to you soon. So thank you again, and good luck with every plans you have.
All right, thank you.
Okay, bye.
Bye, everyone.